Hi YouTube, we're back today. We have our Robo Rail in and we're going to basically show you how we are going to basically mount these to 2x4s so that way we can have them stabilized in the tent. So bear with us, go ahead and settle in for the video because this is going to be a tutorial and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So let me go ahead and find my Sharpie. We're going to go ahead and cut the wrap that they put on the light rail. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so let's cut this open. Oh, here it is, sharpen my knife. Okay, so there we go. So what we're going to want to do is take this the power adapter for the motor, set it aside. We have to do 2 of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay these out and kind of see how it's going to look because we are just basically designing this as we go. So this part of the rail has these inserts that kind of made up with the other rail. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this right here, take the other rail, and basically just match it up with that. So it has these little pins that basically mate with the other rail. And we're going to go ahead and attach those. We're going to end up having to cut these. So I kind of just want to see how they look. I've previously used the Gualala Robotics light rails before. I had the 3.0 and basically this channel here looks a little bit more sturdy. So we're going to go ahead and get this in. Let's see, it's kind of finicky. We're doing this all as one take, so just settle in and watch how we do this. So let's see. Okay, it's almost there. I may need to take this and finagle it. Okay, so now it is mated, and this is how the rail is going to look. So you see how it's basically, you see the mating right there. Okay, so now we have a rail assembled, but we're going to have to end up cutting it because it's too large for the tent. And we want it to be about 60 inches. So these 2x4s, we basically took them and we planed them down. So they are, let's see. They are 1 3/8 inches thick. We'll have to show that for the video. They are 1 3/8 inches thick, so you can kind of see. And they are 2.5 inches wide. So they're 1 3/8 inches thick, 2.5 inches wide, and they are. They are 57 inches long. So let me get that on camera. They are 57 inches long, and kind of see that there a little bit. Okay, there we go. So now that we have our 2x4s planed and we have our rail already assembled, what we're going to want to do is go ahead and move the motor. And we're going to want to basically measure to make sure that the rail is 60 inches long total. So I believe we're going to be wanting to take off 9 inches on each side. So let's set this on its side. Oh, sorry, on the more stable side. Okay. Take a measurement. Can you hold it there? Thank you. All right, so they are 78 inches long, and we need to be at 60 inches. So, yeah, we're gonna need to take about 18 inches off, so about 9 inches off on each side. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark 9 inches on each side, and I'm going to basically take those and cut them outside. So let me go ahead and mark. So we're measuring these to take 9 inches off each side, and let me mark these. Okay, so this is 9 inches right here. Okay, so there we go. So we've got 9 inches on this side. And we've got about 9 inches on this side. Okay, so I've got that first rail marked. We're going to go ahead and do that for the second rail. So bear with me. We're going to set this one aside. Let's go ahead and open our second rail. Okay, so we'll put the power adapter aside. Go ahead and make this one up. Okay, so alright, so we have our second rail assembled. Now we're going to have to mark it for 9 inches on each side. Let's go ahead and set this to the center. Okay. Okay, 9 inches on that side. Have it marked, and now we will go ahead and cut these, and then we will be back. Okay, so we're going to show how we cut these. Basically, I have a grinder that I'm going to be using to cut these, and I'm going to show how we cut one of them, but I'm going to have to end up cutting two of them. So here we go. You got your glasses on? All right. This isn't really working out too well. Alright, so we were able to use a different tool. They cut it a little bit better. What we're going to end up doing is using another tool that we have to go ahead and true these sides up. Okay. So that should be fine. Okay. So now we're gonna just remeasure to make sure that everything is okay. If anything, I can just touch everything up with like a chainsaw file or something similar. So we're gonna go ahead and remeasure and make sure that everything is to the measurements that we need, and we're gonna be right back. Okay, so I basically ended up grabbing my Milwaukee die grinder, and I'm going to go ahead and true up the edges. Nope, need a new battery. All right, so I basically had to throw another battery on there, and then I'm going to show you guys how I trued up the edges. I would not recommend trying this at home unless you are very technical savvy with tools. And even then, I wouldn't. Okay, so they kind of look rough, but it's nothing that we can't work with. All right, let's see the other end. All right, this one's a little bit more rough. The cut didn't come out as straight, so we're gonna go ahead and straighten it up. As always, wear protective glasses and hearing protection. Okay, so that's about as good as we can get it for our needs. So we will go ahead and bring this back inside, and we are going to drill more holes to have even more support for our rails. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to basically slide this motor off. Okay, there we go. Slide it aside, and now we're going to center punch this rail. So we don't want a center punch near the ends. We want a center punch in between the center of these holes that we already have center punched or already pre-drilled. So we're going to go about right here. Okay. About right there. Okay. So we have two holes here. We're going to center punch in the center. We have holes here, and we're going to center punch in the center. we're going to center pull. We don't want to center punch in at the ends, but we are going to center punch in the center there, but between both. Okay. Right about here. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to go and pre-drill these, and then we're going to basically fasten them down to the 2x4s, and we will go ahead and show that process. Thank you. So, as always, wear eyes, ears, protection, and basically we're going to need a piece of 2x4 to go ahead and drill on top of these. So give me 1 second. Okay, so here we are. We're going to set some pieces of 2x4 down, and we're going to go ahead and drill on this. Okay, so we now have one rail drilled. We will go ahead and drill the other one and show you what it looks like when it's done. So now we have our rails cut, they're cleaned up. Now we have to have about 1 3/8 inches because we kind of cut ours short. So we have 1 3/8 inches on each side. It won't affect anything. And we're gonna go ahead and show us drilling these into the rails, but we have to go grab our drills. Okay, so now we have our work area prepped. We have some 2x4s underneath the rails, wooden rails that we're going to be installing on top of the aluminum rails. And now we are going to pre-drill the holes, but we have to put on our PPE. So now we have our safety glasses on, and we're gonna be using a 5/64 drill bit to basically pilot drill the screw hole. It just needs a little bit. go. So now we have our first 2x4 drilled, pilot drilled, and now we are going to go ahead and install the inch and a quarter spec screws. And basically these are the screws that we are going to be using. I'll go ahead and show you guys the box. These are multi-purpose exterior deck screws. So we're going to be using these to fasten the aluminum rails down to the wooden 2x4s, and we will show you what that looks like. So give me a second and we will go ahead and show you how that goes. Okay, so there we go. I believe it is a T15. I will go ahead and double check that with the, these are, it does not say on the box. Yeah, T20. So these are using the T20. Okay. Which is going to be this bit. Okay, we're going to be using the T20 bit, and it fits pretty well in there. And we're going to show you what that looks like. Take our drill bit out. Okay, so now is it going to go? Okay, so now we have our first one in. We're going to go to the opposite end and secure the opposite end. Make sure that we have that. Okay, so now we have those two screws in, and now we can go ahead and continue and keep fastening our aluminum rails down. So I'll just go ahead and show you what that looks like now. Okay. Go ahead and put one in here. Okay. So we just have two more screws to do. Okay, so as you can see, we chose the right screws, and you can't see any screws sticking out of the back. Looks really good. It's going to be very sturdy. So now let's go ahead and show you guys how we attach these brackets here. So these brackets are going to basically attach to your tent. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So there, if you can see, there's a kind of a little bit of a slant here. I just kind of bend them back so that way I can slide them in a little more, and it's going to basically look like that. So we'll go ahead and do that to the other side. When we go ahead and install these permanently, we're going to use some super glue, and we're going to attach them like that. So that's what it's going to look like. That is your rail, and there you have it. So that's your rail for your robotic light rail. Pretty sturdy. I like it way better than my first rail, so hopefully that works out for you guys. Thanks. Okay, so we are here. We are ready to glue on our brackets, and basically what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up grinding a little bit of it off or cutting it off. So these are how they go on, and I'm going to show you guys basically how I glue these on. So I just basically use clear Gorilla Glue, and we are going to go ahead and do these end ones for you. So here we are going to glue on these brackets, and we're just going to run a little bit of Gorilla Glue here. Doesn't really want to run, but we just need a little bit. So we got a little bit on that side. Just need a little bit more on this side. Okay, that's about all we need. Basically, gonna slide it on like that. Okay, there we go. We got one. We're gonna go continue the other ones, and we will show you how it is when we're done. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and put on our second coat of lacquer. We are using Watco Crystal Clear Lacquer. It is the gloss, and it's 30 minutes to dry. So we're gonna go ahead and put a second coat of this on and show you how we do it. All right, we're gonna give it 30 minutes to dry, and we should be ready. Okay, so this is a rail that we've already gone ahead and wet sanded. So let's go ahead and turn the light on for you guys. So you can see how it's really smooth. It's ready for a third coat. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I'm gonna do the second one. The second one is not sanded, has not been sanded yet, and I'm about to go ahead and do that one. So what I do is I take a piece of 800 grit sandpaper. So I use 800 grit sander. I basically coat it with this lube. It's steel wool lube. You can find it on Rockler. I basically just coat it. Okay, now it's ready. So I kind of just start with the edges here. So the lube kind of just helps it glide back and forth. We're just trying to knock off the excess paint, because sometimes when you use spray cans, it can leave kind of some high spots that you basically kind of just need to sand down to even out the coat. And then once you get that all done, you can go ahead and put on the final coat. So I'm just showing how I got my flawless finish on the last rail that I just did. So that way, in case you guys want to do the same thing, you guys know how to do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip it around. We're going to show the other side. All right, so I like to relube the sanding block, and that way I have a nice gliding action when I go out of sand. So I'll go ahead and show that. Okay. Sometimes I flip the sander 180 degrees so that way, in case the grit on the sandpaper kind of wears down on one side, I'm still getting an even coat. If I were to notice that the sandpaper was kind of not doing anything, then I would just basically throw another sheet on. But for this, I only needed 2 1/3 of a sheet. So basically 2/3 of a sheet, but just fold it in half and able to fit on the sander. So sometimes when you have knots, the paint can kind of bubble up, but this is actually pretty good. So I don't have to do much sanding on this side. But on the other one, I kind of did. So what I like to do is basically just take a piece of some paper towel, and I just rip a piece off, and I will take all the steel wool lube. Oh, that's the wrong one, right? I don't know. Is this the one we're doing? Oh, it's this one. So we're doing this one. Yep. So just rub all that excess lube off. I still feel some slight imperfections. So you can see it's kind of coming off there. And now that I have all the lube wiped off, I can basically re-inspect the finish. And in case I need to sand some more, I can sand some more. Okay, so let's take a look. So there's a little bit of high spots on this side here. So I'm just going to keep doing it a little bit longer, just to get the finish that I'm after. Okay, so I feel that the sandpaper is kind of getting dry on me. I'm going to go ahead and check the finish real quick. So it's still a little bit high, just a little bit more. So sometimes with 2x4s, you know, in certain areas, the wood is going to absorb more of the lacquer or clear coat that you're going to be applying to it. So basically that's what happened, and that's why we are sanding it to kind of get that even finish. And then we're going to go ahead and do the final coat. But right now I have to sand this spot right here, and then we should be ready for the third coat. So go ahead and apply more steel wool. So let's go ahead and wipe the lube off. I'm going to go ahead and grab another piece of my paper towel. So I can see it's a little bit high. I can go ahead and sand it a little bit more. The good thing is that when we're wet sanding, it's more gentle than dry sanding, so we're basically protecting the finish that we've already applied. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a little bit more. Flip the sander down around. Okay, that should be good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pause and we will show you what it looks like after we go ahead and apply the third coat. Okay, so we basically wiped down our rails and we're ready to apply the third coat. I'm going to start with the sides first, and then I'm going to do the top. So basically, we've shaken up our can really well. We're going to hold it away about 10 to 12 inches. And we're going to go ahead and show you how we do it, and then we'll show you the final results. Let me get my safety glasses on. So now we're going to go ahead and do the top. All right, that's how we did our third coat, and it's looking really good. So we will go ahead and show you what it looks like when it's all dried up.